You know, it's really frustrating right now that every time I want to do a lyrical video, they just crash. Even though, you know, when I actually get the time to finally sit down and do lyrical, no one just wants to see it because it's just low demand. People just rather see more levy drafts times 30, or, you know, another video on why ChronoJet is so amazing. I'm kind of sick and tired, to be very honest. And sometimes I wonder, you know, is content creation done because I want to share decks with people, or am I doing it because I just need clickbait, which is kind of lame also. Like, I'm kind of tired of click. Eh? Oh look, it's friend of the channel Nier. Hello Nier. You're telling me I should talk about your deck? What is your deck? Lisciafael. Oh yeah, I can do that. Oh, what the fuck? Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Lisciafael here. Today I am back to cover. Hello Nier. Today we are back to cover Lisciafael in DivineZ, and today we will be talking about this deck because I didn't get a chance to talk about it in set 4, but today I finally get a chance to do so, right? Because I hear English is getting DZ-BTO5 early for some really strange reason, and because it's coming early, I figured I still have a window to still talk about this deck, and hence I will. Lisciafael is a very interesting deck. It recently just got its first wave of support, if you can call it, in DZ-BTO5 with the new triple rare and stuff, and there is a relatively cheap deck to build. It's quite easy. You don't really need that many generics, oddly enough, and it plays just as a superior version of MLB. Like everything Majesty Lord Blaster does, this deck does like 1,000,000 times better. So very honestly, I think it's a really good idea to talk about it. I also think this is one of the easiest lyrical decks to play, period. I know some decks like Flamgram are even cheaper than this, but I feel in terms of beginner friendliness, I think this is definitely out there. I think this is definitely one of the top 5 beginner friendly decks that you can recommend, and it's still in line with the whole divine skill theme, which, you know, most children that pick up the game this year like, because it's the mechanic that the format is introducing. So without further ado, today I'll go through my deck. It's a pretty easy deck, I would say, so I don't expect it to take very long. I will put in links in the description for my Majesty Lord Blaster deck profile. Because, you know, this is literally another Majesty Lord Blaster clone again, which is why I'm covering it. And I will also put links in the description for my Krysrain video for DZ-BTO5. I know nobody watched that. I don't lie, I know. But it's okay. If you're just interested to see what DZ-BTO5 brought, I will put the links in the description. I have a Flamgram deck, but frankly, that video is only going to come out if it's either extreme clickbait or extreme, like, oh, tier 0 nonsense, which it kind of is. Like, for those of you who are Japanese and play in the lyrical cups, you know that Flamgram is like top 3 decks for popularity. But like, I don't know if I want to do a video about that. I might as well just talk about Glory Maelstrom, right? Isn't that what you want to hear? Glory Maelstrom. Okay, so let's talk about this deck first. Our right deck is very simple. Our right deck, we play Clarissa as the grade 0 starter. The reason for that is very simple. Clarissa's deck is really bad right now, so I still want to enjoy this art. I still think she's one of the sexiest starters out there. Oh, what's that? Oh, okay, sorry. I've been told that I'm not allowed to comment on the starter art. Grade 1 is Willista, and our grade 2 is also Willista. Because we're actually using the Willista right line with the gem, you could play Lisciafael's own right line. I think it's completely acceptable, but like, they just don't do very much. If you've read them before, like, one guy is just a draw 1, call 1 +5, which is like net 0. Okay, technically it's a +1, but like, I don't know if you want to dedicate to that. It is free though, so I'll give it plus for that. This one is even worse. It's a Color Blast 1 or Energy Blast 3 to draw 1, Soul Charge 1. Like, why? Come on. Are we that desperate for draw that we are resorting to Gun Cyclers in the right deck? Like, no. No. The Willista right deck, on the other hand, is way better with a few more risks. But in this video, I'll teach you how to defuse those risks, okay? So, for the right deck, right? So, Willista's grade 1, when rolled upon, you put a card from your hand to the soul, you search your deck for a gem and add it to your hand. That's the only skill that matters, and you will search this one. Illumi Raise, you play this card. If your Vanguard has a Willista name, you get to draw a card. Okay, that's it. You get to draw a card, and then one of your units gains 5. That is it. That is the entire joke. It's just a draw 1 +5. So even though Illumi by itself is a net 0, right, it gives your Vanguard +5k boost, and we're not done yet. The grade 2 Willista, when you do play a gem, you draw a card. So all you do is you trade with the right line, one card for one card, which is the gem. You trigger the gem, you draw one. You trigger this one, you draw again. And that is it. that is completely it. So you get to tin your deck and you get extra soul because this gives you one soul. The gem moves to your soul when you play it, right? I think all the gems all the gems do that, yeah. And so basically this is one soul, this is one soul, and this gives you another draw for free. Whereas you compare to the original right line, if you look at the original right line, the only thing that gave you soul is this one, right? It's the grade 2. The grade 1 doesn't. It's just draw one, call one. And that makes it kind of questionable, I would say, for the effectiveness. Like, again, why, right? And because the grade 1 gives one of the units 5k, the order does the exact same thing. And that's really why, all in all, when you evaluate it, it is still better to play the Willista right line. I understand people on a budget won't be able to afford the Willista right line. I think it's really fine. So if that's the case, you can just, you can just pick up the Lisciafael right line. I think it's no harm, but it is recommended for you to get the better right line because it is generic. You can actually play the Willista right line multiple decks, including decks like the all vanilla deck. What is the name of that deck? I forgot its name. I will put the links in the description for it. Okay, I will link it there. So if you want to see that, I will put it there so you can check out that deck profile. Okay, and the grade 3, last but not least, is the one and the only Lisciafael. Lisciafael, when this unit attacks while not boosted, energy blast 3 and put 2 or more of your regards into the soul, and this unit gains drive +1. Until the end of the turn, this unit also gains 5,000 power for each card put into the soul for this cost. You energy blast 3 and you choose 2 regards to move into the soul. So technically speaking, you kind of go -2-ish, right? Because energy blast 3 is like 1 resource point and then you move 2 cards in, which is kind of bad. But this deck does draw and call a lot, so I would really not be concerned about it. And because you gain 5,000 power for every regard put to the soul, it is literally just Majesty Lord Blaster. That the joke writes itself. Like, this is Omniscience Awakening at this point. It's stupid, right? But then the divine skill is that at the end of the battle, that this unit attacks a grade 2 or greater unit, if your soul has 6 or more cards, right? Which is very simple, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the gem, and then you move in 6. So that means on turn 3, as long as you play this right line, you will always hit this condition. Extremely easy, right? So at the end of the battle that it attacks, if you have 6 or more cards, counter blast 1, stand this unit. Just stand it. And this unit gets drive -2. Until the end of the fight, you as the player also get that all of your Lisciafael Vanguards get 5,000 power and +1 critical no matter the turn, right? Because it's a skill you get, you could lose this skill to Blank the Maya. So I'm pretty sure that's how it works, so you may want to just be wary about that. Other than that though, it means that every Lisciafael you go into, even if there's a future version like a cross ride or something, you can just keep it at an 18k base with 2 crits. And because you use Lisciafael's first skill first when this unit attacked, it got drive +1 until the end of the turn. When you stand for the divine skill and drive -2, you are still a +1 drive guy, right? And the 5k that you got from moving 2 regards into the soul is also until end of turn. So all the benefits of Lisciafael are until end of turn. And because of that, you literally have a 23k or potentially 28k 2 crit restanding Vanguard on turn 3. That is Majesty Lord Blaster. I cannot sugarcoat my words. It is Majesty Lord Blaster. Like, it's so good, man. And it's in Lyrical Monasterio. Again, I don't know why. Okay, now before we move on, I just want to talk about the other part that I said I would teach you guys how to do, and that is the orders for this deck, right? For our orders, we play 1 of the Illumirays, 1 of the blue gem, yes, the blue gem, and the last one we play is 1 copy of this one. This is ladder, so you know what ladder is, right? You just put it to the soul. No, you don't. You put it. Yeah, you put in soul, draw a card. Your Vanguard passively gets 5k until end of turn. This is a skill that will pass on to every one of your Vanguards for that turn. So even if you stride or you superior, right, you get that power. And all of your board units cannot move from the board. So basically, it's like a super resist. That's kind of fun. you use this because of the restanding Vanguard, and as I said in the Majesty Lord Blaster video, that is virtually very important. You definitely need this. And I know people, I hope people are excited for my Overlord video at the end of the year. You will see this card once more. It's an absolute must play for restanding that, unless your name is Vanguard. Then again, we move on. We have the gem. This is the first gem you search with the right deck, but the second gem is this one, the blue gem. And this is why I'm okay with playing the Relista right line. The Relista right line only searches the gem on turn 2, which means there's a chance you may have lost your one card garnet gem. And because of that, you will need to find another way to get a gem into your hand. And then you can search this gem instead. The blue gem, is this blue? No, this is the red gem. Yeah, this is the red gem. You counterblast 1, draw 2 cards, and then you choose 1 card from your hand, and then you put it into the soul, I believe. Hold on now. Let me take a look at that. Yeah, I got a holo one, so it's kind of killing my eye. Yes, thank you. So basically, you just play it. Wait, no, this is Sapphire. 1 second. This one is the one that, yeah, you draw 2 cards, choose a card from your hand, discard it, and put it into the soul. So both gems move into the soul, right? So you generally just achieve that condition, and then from then on, it is a net zero. It is a net zero. The reason why I still think this is alright as an option is because this only triggers when you have a Relista Vanguard, which means when you ride up eventually to Lisciafael, this card is useless. This one is not. So because of that, you still have methods to, you know, search out your stuff and play it. I don't think it's that bad of an option. The problem, of course, is if you happen to lose both, if you lose both of them by turn 2, then what are you doing? What are you doing? I'm so sorry. Alright, let's move on to the Great Trees. The Great Trees, we play 1 Lisciafael in the right deck, 3 in the main deck, and then we play 4 of her latest support in DZBT05. Yeah, let's get right into it. I think this deck, like I said, it's really simple, so I don't think this is going to be a problem. Nier, do you want to cover it? No? Okay, sure, I'll do it myself. Okay, so the Persona is Persona, that's basically about it. If I need to explain to you why you're playing a Persona in Majesty Lord Blaster, we need to have a different conversation. This one is the new common from DZBT05, yes. And it, on face value, is very similar to the DZBT04 girl, right? So I thought this was pretty interesting when I was researching for this video. I was like, why does Lisciafael have so many great trees that does the exact same thing? I chose this one because it has no CB cost, okay? And CB is kind of expensive in this deck, somewhat, so I'm trying to cut down on it. Anyways, this is Competent Director Sepelina. Sepelina, if you have a Great Tree or Greater Vanguard of Lisciafael on its card name, gains 5,000 power, and this is a stat that is passive on both turns. Which means you can even use this as a rearguard Majesty Lord Blaster. Good job, Bushido. Good job. In the year of our Lord 2024, we have rearguards Majesty Lord Blaster. The other skill is when this unit is put to the rearguard into soul by the Vanguard of by the ability of a Great Tree or Greater Vanguard of Lisciafael's card name. If your opponent's Vanguard is Great Tree or greater, all of your front row units gain 5. On face value, that's really good. You now get a Pocket Glory Maelstrom effect. Or technically, because your opponent's Great Tree or greater, you technically get a Pocket Vermilion the Blood effect on Lisciafael, which is virtual nightmare fodder, right? The thing is though, you kind of need a front row. And if this unit was in your front row, moving into the soul, you don't achieve anything, right? So the thing is, we actually do have better rearguards that you can still use, like Evelina. I think Evelina is pretty cute. And then we have others like this one, Valsha Blank. No, this is not Valsha Blank, this is Belfer. I think, I have no idea how to pronounce the English name. So because of that, you generally can just use this in the back row for the turns you want to trigger the Great Tree or greater skill, and by doing so, you can now just move it from the front row to the back, and you can now enable a mini crest for your entire Grade 2 lineup, which I think is pretty impressive. Again though, because she is not using CB, that's the main reason why I play her, but I definitely think she is also cuttable in this deck. Like, I don't see this thing in the deck long run, but I think having a Pocket Crest, a Pocket Glory effect, is pretty damn good, especially in a deck with such high firepower like Lisciafael. If you told Majesty Lord Blaster, congrats, you get half a crest, I'm pretty sure the first thing he'll do is go and buy a lottery ticket. Like, right, wouldn't you? Our grade 2 lineup, and it's gonna get simpler from here, so strap yourself. Our grade 2s, we play 4 copies of the Brilliant Restage Abelina. Then we play one Night Witch. No, we play this one. This is from DZLBT1. And then we play one copy of Ballista from the right deck. You already know this one. I've covered it. I will cover Abelina first. Abelina is my personal favorite, but that's not because she's rocker girl on legs. She's more than just a rocker girl on legs. Her skill is, if you have a Vanguard, greater Vanguard Lisciafael on this card name, this unit gains 5,000 power. And it is active on your opponent's turn too. Another Rearguard Majesty Lord Blaster. Why does this whole deck have Rearguard Majesty Lord Blasters? I will never know. The second skill is, when your grade 3 or greater Vanguard of Lisciafael attacks, if your front row has no other rearguards, counterblast 1 and stand this unit. If your opponent is grade 3 or greater, this unit gains 10. Now, because it says your front row needs to have no other rearguards, it basically means you need to have this one in the front row. So I lied to all of you. The thing is that by using this in the front row as your first 18k beater, and then Abelina as your second 15k-ish beater, then you move this into the soul by the effect of Lisciafael. You stand Abelina skill triggers, she gains 10,000 power, and then you give her another 5,000 power. Yeah, so it's like I said, the combos are very simple. There is no trick to this deck, but it is just so fun. Like, it really is. The problem though is counterblast. We do have a counter charger in Lisciafael, but some ask if it is enough, and I don't know if it's enough, but we will see. Our final grade 2 for this deck is this one. This is a pretty interesting card that came out in DZLBT01. When I first saw this card, I didn't even know what it was for. I was like, oh, another generic, great. And I totally ignored it. I saw it at my locals for like 200 yen a piece, and I just didn't buy it. My biggest mistake. My biggest mistake, because literally the week Lisciafael was revealed, this card went up to like 4,000 yen. It has dropped now, so I am grateful, but this is definitely a card. The one generic I would say you need to buy. A little demonic method Veilfer. When placed on a rearguard circle, you can soul charge 1, then counterblast 1, draw 1. So, you know who this sounds like. It sounds like Vipatsuka the Overflyer, my good friend from Nier. So, yep, again, we are playing another CB1 draw 1, just like Glimmer, Breath, Dragon. Hooray! Second skill, when this unit attacks a grade 3 or greater unit, if you have a card in the soul with the same name as your Vanguard, this unit gains 5,000 power until the end of the turn. Now, considering that you need to persona right and then attack a grade 3 or greater opponent, then it gains 5,000 power, it's kind of whack, but it's alright. It's a 15k beater, you can live with it, it's just something that you can play later on. You mainly just want the soul charge skill and the CB1 draw 1. Again, this on-play Soul Charge 1 is completely optional. You don't have to use this in a late game. But other than that, it's just a draw, which I think is highly effective. Moving on to our grade 1s. Our grade 1s, we play 4 copies of Sea Song Dragon Electrono. We play 1 copy of Willista from the right deck. Of course, you already know her because we covered her earlier in the video. So this one is going to be pretty easy. We play 4 copies of this girl from DZBT05 and this girl from DZBT04. And then we also play 4 Perfect Guards. Okay, so let me run through them very quickly. You already should know what Perfect Guards are. If you don't, please just watch a guide video. I'm not in the mood to tell you what a Perfect Guard is for. You need to stay alive for this deck, and therefore this is important. Our last Lisciafael support from Wave 1 is this one. This is Sway with Strings Balatiel, yes. So it's kind of like a Bestial, but it's not. During the battle, this unit boosts. If you have a greater or greater Vanguard of Lisciafael in its card name, it gains 5,000 power. Okay, so it's a 13k booster, it's not bad. When this unit is put into the soul from the rearguard circle by the ability of the Vanguard of Lisciafael in its card name, draw 1. If you did not counter charge this turn, counter charge 1. This is a very good way to net zero your Lisciafael ability and give you a free counter charge on top of it. So basically, this ensures that your first attack with your other rearguard before Lisciafael is going to be very devastating, which I think is not bad. Considering that Lisciafael is just Omina Gruzio in a cat girl uniform, I really can't see how this can go wrong. Willista on the right deck, we've already covered Willista. Alright, our grade 1. Our brand new grade 1, this is Clover Heart's Neliel. I do not know why this is even themed after clovers. I don't even know what is the significance of them. But if this is a Team Q4 reference, I'm all for it. When this unit is placed on the Vanguard circle, if you have a grade 2 or greater Vanguard of Lisciafael in its card name, count +1. Choose a grade 2 or less normal unit with a different card name from this unit and non-sentinel from your soul put into your hand. You may soul charge 1 after that. So for counter +1, you now get a soul-based Greed Shade by just placing this Vanguard circle, count +1. Choose any card in your soul that's just non-sentinel, add it back to your hand. And it must be grade 2 or less. Okay, so you cannot loop your ladder, you cannot loop your persona right, and you cannot loop your spells. It has to be a grade 2 or less normal unit. Other than that though, everything else on this planet is absolute fair game. You can loop your Abelina if Abelina was moved into the soul. You can even loop your counter charges. You can do anything. It is very effective, I would say, because this is quite a nice way to build advantage without necessarily minusing from the deck. And the optional soul charge is of course very helpful. I like that about Lisciafael. She smells like a Baron Magnis player, but is clearly not, which is, good, because, do you want to smell like a Baron Magnis player? The second skill is, when this unit boosts, if you have a grade 2 or greater Vanguard of Lisciafael in its card name, Soul Blast 2, this unit gains 10,000 power to the end of that battle. People will feel very weird. They will say, Ahmes, why would I Soul Blast 2 in the deck that clearly needs me to have 6 cards in a soul? Well, my friend, if you exceed 6 cards in a soul, you now have a way to convert your excess soul into sheer firepower. An 18k booster, I cannot say no to that. I really can't. But this is the win more skill on Neliela. You can just, never use it, or, if you're losing to Equilibra, just never use this skill again. But it really doesn't matter. This is the win more, this is the Greed Shade skill. So know what you're in for. Our last main unit for this deck is going to be Sea Strong Dragon. This is the Festival Cycler from Festival 2024. And I may not have talked about the Festival Cyclers in great depth, but I've practiced with them enough to know when you want to play them around, and I think this is not a bad application. When this unit is placed on a Vanguard circle, if your Vanguard's grade is less than or equal to your opponent's grade, this unit gains 2,000 power to the end of the turn. If you have played an order this turn, Soul Charge 1 or Energy Charge 1. People playing Elestino in non-order based decks are wrong, but we made this an order based deck, and because of that, we can play this card. This is not expensive generic at all, and we've managed to completely ball around it just by putting a little order package, and there we go. Now we've made this completely viable. But Elestino not only can be a good soul target, right, because you can call it on the board, move it to Soul of Lisciafael, and then you can Soul Blast it out with cards like, Elenio. You now get a second skill, which is the drop skill or rearguard skill. When your other card is discarded from your hand during your turn, Energy Blast 3 and remove it. Choose one of the discarded cards and put it back into the hand. Lisciafael is not a traditional restanding Vanguard where you don't need to discard a card to restand. However, you still need to discard to write cards, and you will still need to discard, when you have a discard-based skill. So because of that, Elestino is technically still a really good card to just keep in circulation, but you don't need this like 100%. This is like the weakest slot in the deck right now, even though I made a whole fuss about how order-based decks can now play this, but it's not like a must play. I think there are better options out there. This is just an option I was really happy with in terms of using energy for a more efficient way than waiting to 9 energy and then just drawing. Even though we have an EB3 skill here, so in the first place you can't even do that. So because of that, you would still want a card that uses Energy Blast 3 in the deck, just like how Shoujo Doji used to play Unite the Sky. We are using Elestino. And our last section, very quickly, is our grade 0. Again, there is Clarissa. You can play any starter you want. I just think Clarissa is really hot, so I'm playing her. Sorry, did I offend you? Okay, I'm sorry. And then we play 3 draw, we play 4 heal, we play 8 crits. It's a restanding Vanguard deck. I don't need to explain this to you. And this one, we are playing Majesty Lord Blaster. Have a 9th crit. And that will wrap up the Lisciafael deck profile for DivineZ DZBT05. Very personally, I'm quite excited to play this deck. I think honestly this deck so far, in terms of what I've seen it do, I think it's really fun. I think for the Destined ones, even though they tend to rehash, older mechanics, they still bring enough different design here and there that is worthwhile. I like the idea that they have a Krysrain clone. I like that we can play Rush with Belfer. I like the idea of using Celestino, and how we can even bring the Realista Right Line to life with even more gems. But this deck, it is still a lyrical deck, so it does still have its weaknesses. We may have put in Ladder to stop it from losing to, Control or Shiranui, but at the end of the day, you will still have some pretty bad matchups, and you do still lose the long-term game against decks like Rezile, right? Okay, I said it, Rezile. So, honestly though, I think this is a pretty good deck if you want a fun deck to play, if you like cat girls. I'm not really a cat girl guy, but it's a Majesty Lord Blaster deck. If you like Majesty Lord Blaster, definitely pick this deck up. This deck is really fun. Or if you just want to play Lyrical on a relatively cheaper budget, I'll say this is worth it. If you want a Lyrical deck that wins Lyrical Cups, or if you just want a meta killer deck, you should look at other things like Michu, or Flagram, or Letitia, Coral, something like that. This is not it, but this is still pretty fun, and I normally like to do Majesty Lord Blaster videos at the end of the year, so this is going to be one of them. This will probably also be my last lyrical video for the year, because very frankly, nobody really watches my lyrical content, so I'm kind of not really motivated to do more. I will probably still do Felty Rosa because I love Felty Rosa to death, but that's probably just going to be about it. I hope you guys did like this video. I did really try to put out a more interesting video, but we'll see. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time. The next video from here should be Glory Maelstrom or Graham Grace, depending on which one my wallet can afford first. So yeah, just to keep you updated, because I know you guys are really excited for DZBT06. I am too, but I know a lot of people that aren't. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.